What if the true measure of wealth wasn't the amount of money you had, but the kindness you gave? A billionaire decided to test this theory in a way no one expected. Jonathan Steele was a billionaire, known for his vast fortune and his control over some of the largest businesses in the world. To the outside world, he seemed to have it all: a lavish mansion, luxury cars, and an endless supply of money. Yet, despite all his wealth, Jonathan had always felt an emptiness that money couldn't fill. He had everything most people dreamed of, but something was missing. What he longed for was something simple, something he couldn't buy: kindness. One day, while sitting in his sleek, modern office high above the city, Jonathan overheard an interesting conversation. His assistant mentioned a local diner where a waitress named Maria had earned a reputation for her remarkable kindness. She was known for making even the busiest days feel lighter, always going out of her way to offer a smile, a comforting word, or a helping hand to anyone who needed it. Maria's kindness was not something Jonathan could fathom. How could someone working in a place like that be so genuinely warm? Was it real or just part of her job? Curious, Jonathan decided to visit the diner, but not as himself. He didn't want to walk in as the wealthy businessman everyone knew. Instead, he dressed down, hoping to blend in with the crowd. He wore an old jacket, a cap that hid his well-groomed hair, and worn-out shoes. The goal was simple: to see if Maria's kindness was genuine, or if it was just a facade that came with tips from the wealthier customers. The diner was modest, tucked away on the corner of a busy street. It wasn't fancy, but it had a warm, homey feeling to it. The smell of freshly baked bread and sizzling food greeted Jonathan as soon as he entered. He walked in, looking around like any ordinary customer, and took a seat at a corner booth. Maria noticed him right away. He looked out of place, his clothes too worn for a man who seemed to be in need of a meal. But she didn't judge him. She smiled warmly as she approached him. "Hi there, how are you doing tonight?" Maria asked, her voice soft and inviting. Jonathan gave her a small, almost reluctant smile. "I'm okay, I guess," he replied, trying to sound casual. His voice was quiet, almost as if he wasn't used to being asked how he was. Maria could tell. There was something off about him. He didn't look like the usual customers. His eyes held a certain sadness, a heaviness she had seen before in others. But she didn't press him for answers. Instead, she took his order, opting for the usual: diner fare, simple comfort food. As Maria went to prepare his meal, Jonathan sat back, watching the other customers around him. He couldn't help but notice how Maria interacted with them. She spoke to each one with such warmth, making even the briefest exchanges feel meaningful. It was a quality he hadn't seen in many years. People around him, employees, business, partners, even his friends, treated him with respect because of his money. But Maria treated everyone the same, whether they were dressed in fine suits or ragged clothes. When Maria brought his food to the table, she set it down in front of him, with a smile. "I hope you're hungry," she said. "Let me know if you need anything else." Jonathan didn't immediately respond. Instead, he stared at his plate, the food untouched. Maria, sensing something was wrong, sat down across from him without being asked. "You know," she began softly, "life can be tough sometimes. It's easy to get lost in all the noise and forget the little things that make us happy. But there's always something good waiting for us, even if it's just a warm meal or a friendly face." Jonathan looked up at her, taken aback by her words. He had expected pity or indifference. But instead, Maria spoke with a genuine sense of understanding. It was a warmth he hadn't known in years, a warmth that didn't come with an agenda. He didn't know why, but he felt a sense of comfort in her presence. For the first time in a long time, he felt like he could speak openly. He told her about his life, about how his wealth had made him a prisoner in his own world, how people only saw the money, never the person behind it, how his success had come at the cost of personal connections and meaningful relationships. Maria listened patiently, nodding as he spoke. She didn't offer advice or try to fix his problems, she simply listened. It was more than Jonathan had expected from anyone in a long time. When it was time to leave, Jonathan stood up, his heart feeling strangely lighter. He placed a generous tip on the table, far more than what Maria would ever expect. Before he could leave, Maria stopped him. "You don't have to do that," she said, looking at the tip in surprise. Jonathan smiled, but it wasn't his usual business smile. It was softer, warmer. "Thank you," he said simply. "You're the kindest person I've met in a long time." Maria blinked, confused. "I'm just doing my job." Jonathan left the diner, the rain still falling outside. As he walked back to his car, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed inside him. He had come to test kindness, to see if Maria's warmth was real, but instead he had experienced something far greater, genuine human connection. The next day, Jonathan returned to the diner, but this time he came as himself. He wore a tailored suit, his polished shoes clicking against the floor as he walked in. Maria was behind the counter, and when she saw him, her eyes widened in recognition. "Hello, Maria," Jonathan said with a smile, his voice warm. "I'm Jonathan Steele. I came here yesterday as a different man, to see how you treated people. But what I learned from you is worth more than anything I could ever buy. Thank you for reminding me what truly matters." Maria stood frozen for a moment, unsure of what to say. But then she smiled, the same smile she had given him the day before. "You're welcome," she said simply. And with that, Jonathan Steele learned a valuable lesson, that true kindness, the kind that comes from the heart, was the greatest wealth of all. If you believe that kindness is the greatest wealth, share this story with someone who could use a reminder that real riches come from the heart. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. And remember, kindness can change the world, one act at a time.